series hosted by History Society Sakshar and IQAC, Internal Quality Assurance Center. The Graduate Scholars Talk series is an invaluable resource for graduate students, helping them to expand their knowledge, refine their skills, and vision of the topic they wish to deliver here. By enriching the academic environment and promoting community engagement, the series is not only shaping the minds of future leaders, but also positively influencing the broader surroundings. And the credit of it all goes to our very hardworking moderators, Mr. Ajay Gupta, Mr. Shailendra Rathod, Mr. Saurabh Singh, Mr. Shubham Tiwari, Ms. Samriddhi Kanpal, Mr. Manthan, and by Ms. Manvi Saraswat, and to our advisor, Dr. Manish Karmawal. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our very esteemed guest of honor, Mr. Anupam Anand, who is a scientist at TBRL in DRDO, Ministry of Defence, Chandigarh. He has done his graduation and post-graduation from Shyam College, University of Delhi, from Department of Statistics. Sir is an expert in the field of performance evaluation of ammunitions, statistical modeling, and many more. Sir, it's really a pleasure to have you here. I would request your permission to start the program.
Thank you. And it's really nice when Manish sir invited me yesterday for this show, and it was very nice to see that it is the 168th talk in last 3 years. It started in 2021. Indeed, it's a great achievement to continue without fail in every Sunday. It was conducted without fail. And in academics, what matters most is communication. What you perceive, what you gain as a knowledge, that has to be imparted. No material who gains it. And moreover, today's topic is one of the topic that today's youth and I think all the age groups are facing, is stress. And it does not just manifest in your mental health, it affects your physical health also. So we will be delighted to hear our today's esteemed speaker, Miss Kalpana Dhyani from Doon University. Madam, may you start, please?
Thank you, sir, for your permission.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll get back to you after the talk. So moving forward, stress is a natural physical and emotional response to challenging or threatening situations. It can be triggered by various factors known as stressors, which can be external based on relationships or financial problems, or it could be internal, that is negative thoughts, etc. It could be for long term or for short term, and it affects individuals differently based on their personal coping mechanisms and resilience. So let's dive into this very crucial issue where our speaker, Ms. Kalpana, would be presenting her views on the topic from strain to strength, coping mechanism for resilience. Kalpana, over to you.
Thank you for the sweet welcome. And thank you for our speaker for joining us. So let me first present the slides. Give me a minute, please. Are the slides visible?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening to one and all. Today, we will try to start our journey from strain to strength. I am Kalpana Dhyani, pursuing my master's program from Doon University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. First of all, I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to GSTS portal and our guest of honor, Mr. Anupam Ananda sir. Then, I would like to thank our wonderful audience for lending me their ears for an hour. Today, I am going to present my views on the topic from strain to strength, coping mechanism for resilience. In this GSTS talk, this talk is not the only talk on the similar kind of topic. Talk number 33 and 139 session was also slightly related to the stress. But now this talk is a bit different, and I will try to focus on coping mechanism and empower each one of us to deal with our own life stress. Now, coming to why did I choose this topic? We are always scheduling our happiness. कैलेंडर्स पे हम लोग अपनी गूगल मीटिंग्स को शेड्यूल करते करते अपनी अपनी हैप्पीनेस को शेड्यूल करते जा रहे हैं. We all have heard that happiness is not a goal, it is a journey. पर आज के टाइम पे हम एक वेकेशन का वेट करते हैं कि जब वेकेशन पे जाएंगे तब हम खुश होंगे, क्योंकि हमारी लाइफ इतनी स्ट्रेसफुल हो गई है. So why don't we learn to deal with our own stress? Now, coming to the objectives of today's session. First of all, we will discuss what is stress. Then we'll discuss types of stress, biological basis behind the stress, coping and coping styles. How can we measure stress? Techniques to cope up with stress, rural and urban divide between stress and stressors. Then we'll try to focus on some government initiatives for the betterment of individual mental health. एक स्टोरी के साथ स्टार्ट करते हैं. There was a 19-year-old studying in Kota. He was giving JEE exam, but till his 10th, he was getting around 90% in his board exams. तो उसे कंसिडर किया जाता था कि वो बहुत एक ब्राइट स्टूडेंट है, ये सोच के वो कोटा में अपनी प्रिपरेशन के लिए आ गया. अब वो अपने घर वालों से दूर रह रहा है, बट सडनली उसके 12th के बोर्ड में 65% आ जाती है. नाउ उसकी आइडेंटिटी जो उसने एसोसिएट कर ली थी कि आई एम अ स्कॉलर एंड आई ऑलवेज बी ऑन द टॉप ऑफ मेरिट लिस्ट, मैं तो बहुत अच्छा ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट हूँ, ये आइडेंटिटी हर्ट हो जाती है ये सुनने के बाद. Then the student starts self-harming himself. The reason is क्योंकि उसे पता ही नहीं था कि उसे अपने स्ट्रेस से कैसे कोप अप करना है. The sad part is we are never taught to deal with our own stress, although we all face stress at different levels of our life. Now, going with the definition of stress. Lazarus and Folkman in 1984 suggested that an individual feels stressed when they feel that demand for their external stressor is not within their coping capacity. हम स्ट्रेस तभी फील करते हैं जब हमें लगता है कि कोई भी स्ट्रेसर हमारी कैपेबिलिटीज के बाहर है या हम उससे फाइट नहीं कर पाएंगे. It is our body's natural physical, mental and emotional reaction to external stressor. सोर्सेज ऑफ स्ट्रेस बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, जिसमें कि हमारा ऑफिस का कोई नया प्रोजेक्ट, हमारी किसी रिलेटिव की वेडिंग या हमारी खुद की वेडिंग भी हमें कई बार स्ट्रेस देती है, क्योंकि इतनी सारी एज अ इंडियन वेडिंग अगर हम देखें तो इतने सारे लोग, इतने सारे अरेंजमेंट, ऑल दिस कैन बी स्ट्रेसफुल. वर्क प्लेस पे बहुत सारे स्ट्रेस हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की वजह से किसी को स्ट्रेस फेस हो सकता है, अग्रेसिव बॉस की वजह से किसी को स्ट्रेस फेस हो सकता है, एंड मेनी मोर फैक्टर्स. लेट अस सी विद द डाटा कि स्ट्रेस कितना इम्पैक्ट करता है हमें. ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड का डेटा दिया हुआ है. नियरली हाफ ऑफ all US adults, 49% say that stress has negatively affected the behavior. This was a report published by American Psychological Association in 2020. More than three quarters of adults report symptoms of stress, including headache, tiredness, and sleeping problem. This was again another report published by American Psychological Association in 2019. तो ये थे फिजिकल सिम्टम्स, हेडेक, टायर्डनेस एंड स्लीपिंग प्रॉब्लम. अलॉन्ग विद दैट स्ट्रेस की वजह से बहुत सारी और भी डिसऑर्डर्स होते हैं. स्ट्रेस डायरेक्टली कोरिलेट भले इतना ना भी करे, लेकिन वो एक फैक्टर हो सकता है. जैसे कि हम एक बहुत प्रोमिनेंट मॉडल पढ़ते हैं, डायथीसिस स्ट्रेस मॉडल, जिसमें कि अगर कोई जेनेटिकली प्रोन है किसी मेंटल डिसऑर्डर के लिए, तो उसकी लाइफ में कोई स्ट्रेसफुल सिचुएशन उसके जो जेनेटिक प्रोमिनेंट बिहेवियर है उसको इंक्रीज करके द पर्सन में फील एनी और एक्सपीरियंस एनी मेंटल डिसऑर्डर. अलॉन्ग विद दैट कॉजल रिलेशनशिप भी फाइंड आउट किए गए हैं मेंटल हेल्थ और मेंटल डिसऑर्डर्स और स्ट्रेस में. एक रिपोर्ट है 20, इसमें अराउंड रिसर्च हुई थी, 20,842 रिस्पोंडेंट्स थे. These respondents were from 24 universities and 9 international colleges. It was a big number, so this research can be considered credible. And this research was conducted by World Health Organization, World Mental Health Initiative. In this report, it was found out that major disorders like major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, alcohol use disorder, and drug use disorder, all these were found out to be caused because of stress level among individuals. Now, talking about types of stress. लास्ट सेशन में जब मैं इंट्रोड्यूस कर रही थी तो मैंने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था आप सब लोगों से कि क्या आपको लगता है कि स्ट्रेस पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, तो उसका आंसर है यस, स्ट्रेस कैन बी पॉजिटिव. At that point of time I was talking about eustress. Eustress refers to the stress that leads to a positive response. It is opposite to distress, can refer to a type of beneficial stress, whether physical or psychological. It tends to be short term and often feels exciting. People perceive this type of stress as manageable and even motivating. इसका बहुत बेटर एग्जाम्पल हम अपनी लाइफ से कोरिलेट कर पाते हैं. जैसे कि एज वी मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर स्टूडेंट्स, तो हमारा जब भी कोई ऐसे एग्जाम आने वाला होता है, सो वी जस्ट फील अ बिट प्रेशर टू स्कोर वेल. सो दिस मोटिवेट्स अस टू स्टडी हार्डर. सो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ यू स्ट्रेस कि इससे हम मोटिवेट होते हैं अच्छे से और पढ़ने के लिए. अगर हम इसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें, अगर कोई इंसान अपना नया प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च कर रहा है तो उसकी सक्सेस के लिए उसे एंशियस फील होगा कि आई हैव टू वर्क हार्ड टू मेक दिस प्रोजेक्ट अ बिग हिट और बिग सक्सेस. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ यू स्ट्रेस. Distress, emotional, social, spiritual, or physical pain or suffering that may cause a person to feel sad, afraid, depressed, anxious, or lonely. People in distress may also feel that they are not able to manage or cope with changes caused by normal life activities or having a disease. Distress is usually seen as negative one. जब किसी को अगर chronic illness like cancer हो जाए, तो उस point of time पे person feels a very negative feeling, which is termed as distress, and it can be long term. Stress can be further bifurcated into two types: acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stress is short term stress that goes away quickly. Acute stress में हम अपनी डेली लाइफ स्ट्रेस को ले सकते हैं. As if I am getting late for a office meeting, so this stress is a short-term stress. As soon as I reach my office, even if I'm late, the stress will go away after some time. But chronic stress is a long period of is the stress which lasts for a long period of time. You may have chronic stress if you have money problems, an unhappy marriage, or trouble at work. So these stress last for a long period of time. इसमें हम इलनेसेस से रिलेटेड स्ट्रेस को भी ले सकते हैं. फ्रॉम अनहैप्पी मैरिजेस, इफ समवन इज गेटिंग डाइवोर्स्ड, they may feel a long-term stress as well. Now, looking at the biological basis of stress. Stress हमें कैसे impact करता है? First of all, we will look at it as an evolutionary perspective. We humans have evolved from an early man to living in properly built houses and working in offices in multinational corporations. पर इस प्रोसेस में कैसे हमारे स्ट्रेस लेवल्स चेंज हुए हैं और कैसे उससे हमारी बॉडी ने उस स्ट्रेस से कैसे हमारी बॉडी डील करती है, इस चीज पे हम फोकस करेंगे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, स्ट्रेस की वजह से हमारी बॉडी में दो तरह के नर्वस सिस्टम वर्क करते हैं: सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम एंड पैरासिम्पैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम. पैरासिम्पैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम होता है जब हमारी बॉडी नॉर्मली बिना स्ट्रेस के काम कर रही है, तो उस टाइम हमारी बॉडी में पैरासिम्पैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम एक्टिवेट होता है. वाइल सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम हमारी बॉडी का इमरजेंसी मोड होता है, जो हमारी बॉडी हमें सेव करने के लिए और हमारे सर्वाइवल के लिए एक्टिवेट करती है. अगर हम एक केस लें कि इवोल्यूशन, जब हम लोग हंटर और गैदरर से हम किसी फॉरेस्ट में रहते थे, तो अगर हमारे सामने कोई शेर आ जाता है तो हमारी बॉडी का सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम एक्टिवेट होता है, जिसमें हमारी बॉडी में सर्टेन चेंजेस आते हैं। हमारी बॉडी फ्लाइट और फाइट मोड में जाने का ट्राई करती है। हमारी बॉडी में जो चेंजेस आते हैं वो कुछ ऐसे हैं। प्यूपिल एक्सपेंड, हमारी आईज में जो प्यूपिल का एरिया है वो एक्सपेंड होता है, जिससे कि हमारी आईज में ज्यादा लाइट एंटर कर पाए और हम रास्ते को ज्यादा क्लियरली देख पाए। हमारी बॉडी में जो ब्रीदिंग प्रोसेस है वो इंक्रीज हो जाता है, जिससे कि हमारी बॉडी में ऑक्सीजन का फ्लो बढ़ पाए। हमारा हार्ट फास्टर पंप करने लग जाता है टू गिव आवर मसल्स मोर स्ट्रेंथ। और हमारी बॉडी में डाइजेशन और एक्सक्रीशन जैसे प्रोसेसेस जो सेकेंडरी हमारी बॉडी उन्हें डील करती है और उन्हें रोक देती है। तो स्ट्रेस की वजह से ये सारे चेंजेस हमारी बॉडी में आ रहे हैं, जिससे कि हमारी बॉडी इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन में जो स्ट्रेसर है इस सिचुएशन में जो कि लायन है उससे फाइट कर पाए। अब आप पूछेंगे कि स्ट्रेस होने से जब हमारी बॉडी में इतने सारे पॉजिटिव चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, हमारी बॉडी इफेक्टिवली डील कर पा रही है स्ट्रेसर से, तो इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? तो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जब हम पैरासिम्पैथेटिक मोड में होते हैं, उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम में हमारी बॉडी में बहुत सारे ऐसे प्रोसेसेस भी काम कर रहे होते हैं जो हमारी बॉडी के लिए एसेंशियल है, लाइक डाइजेशन भी हमारे लिए उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है जितना कि अदर बॉडीली फंक्शंस। डाइजेशन, एक्सक्रीशन, अलॉन्ग विद दैट हमारी बॉडी में जो भी वुंड्स होते हैं वो भी पैरासिम्पैथेटिक मोड या हमारी बॉडी का रिलैक्सेशन मोड जब एक्टिव होता है उसी टाइम पे फंक्शन कर पाते हैं। और अगर हमारी बॉडी में बार बार स्ट्रेस की वजह से सिंपैथेटिक मोड एक्टिवेट होता रहे तो हमारी बॉडी को रिकवर करने का टाइम नहीं मिल पाता है। तो ये हमारा इवोल्यूशन के पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर हमने पहले की बात करी तो उसमें हमारा स्ट्रेसर लायन था, पर आज के पॉइंट में हमारे सिचुएशन में हमारे मेंटल थॉट्स ही वो स्ट्रेसर बन जाते हैं और हमारी बॉडी डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं कर पाती है कि क्या फिजिकल स्ट्रेसर है और क्या इमोशनली हमने खुद बिल्ड किया है, और वो सिमिलरली उसी तरह से हमारी बॉडी में चेंजेस लाके रिएक्ट करती है टू द स्ट्रेसर वी हैव क्रिएटेड फॉर आवरसेल्फ। सो इस पे हमारी बॉडी को रिकवर होने का टाइम नहीं मिल पाता है। नाउ फर्दर ड्वेलिंग इनटू द बायोलॉजिकल पार्ट, ब्रेन बॉडी पाथवेज इन स्ट्रेस। जब हमारी बॉडी स्ट्रेस में होती है तो सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ हॉर्मोन्स रिलीज होते हैं। हमारी किडनी के ऊपर एड्रिनल ग्लैंड्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं, जिससे ये हॉर्मोन्स सिक्रीट होते हैं। सो द कमांड फ्रॉम आवर ब्रेन, सबसे पहले पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड से कमांड आती है, उससे कॉर्टिकोट्रोफिन हॉर्मोन्स रिलीज होते हैं जो हमारे एड्रिनल कॉर्टेक्स को स्टिमुलेट करते हैं, जिससे कॉर्टिकोइड्स रिलीज होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से हमारी बॉडी में इंक्रीज्ड मेटाबोलाइजेशन ऑफ प्रोटीन एंड फैट होता है, इंक्रीज्ड एक्सेस टू एनर्जी स्टोरेज एंड डिक्रीज्ड इन्फ्लेमेशन होता है। अदर पाथवेज, हाइपोथैलेमस हमारी बॉडी का रिएक्ट करता है, जिससे कि ऑटोनॉमिक नर्वस सिस्टम और द सिंपैथेटिक डिवीजन जो हमने अभी डिस्कस किया था वो सिस्टम एक्टिवेट होता है। एड्रेनालिन मेड्यूला हमारे बॉडी का स्टिमुलेट होता है, जिससे कैटेकोमाइन्स हार्मोन रिलीज होता है, जिसकी वजह से हमारी कार्डियोवास्कुलर रिस्पांस बढ़ता है, हमारा हार्ट रेट इंक्रीज हो जाता है, हमारी रेस्पिरेशन रेट इंक्रीज हो जाती है और हमारी बॉडी में ब्लड फ्लो इंक्रीज हो जाता है। ऑल दीज चेंजेस कम व्हेन वी आर इन एन स्ट्रेसफुल सिचुएशन। स्ट्रेस के बारे में हमने काफी डिस्कस कर लिया है, अब हम कोपिंग पे आते हैं कि हम कैसे अपने स्ट्रेस से कोप कर सकते हैं। Coping can be broadly defined as any behavior intended to manage stress. This definition was given by Lazarus and Folkman in 1984. Coping usually involves adjusting to or tolerating negative events or realities while you try to keep your positive self and emotional equilibrium. Coping occurs in context of life changes that are perceived to be stressful. कोपिंग बेसिकली हम कैसे अपनी स्ट्रेसफुल और स्ट्रेसर्स के साथ डील कर पाते हैं और कैसे खुद को एक पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट के साथ आगे बढ़ पाते हैं, अपनी लाइफ डिसीजंस ले पाते हैं। कोपिंग स्टाइल्स, साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैव गिवन बेसिकली 4 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ कोपिंग स्टाइल्स। फर्स्ट वन इज प्रॉब्लम फोकस्ड कोपिंग। प्रॉब्लम फोकस्ड कोपिंग को हम ऐसे समझ सकते हैं कि जब हम हैंड्स ऑन अपनी प्रॉब्लम के साथ डील करते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपको कोई वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट करानी है अगले मंथ, तो उस वर्कशॉप को कंडक्ट कराने, अब वो वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट कराना आपकी लाइफ का इस वक्त पे स्ट्रेसफुल इवेंट है। तो कैसे आप इस स्ट्रेस से कोप करेंगे? आप प्लान करेंगे कि इतनी, फॉर एग्जांपल नेक्स्ट मंथ की 19 को आपका वर्कशॉप है, तो आप शेड्यूल प्लान करेंगे कि अराउंड इस मंथ के एंड तक आई विल डिसाइड द टॉपिक एंड डू द रिसर्च ऑन द टॉपिक, और नेक्स्ट मंथ की स्टार्टिंग फर्स्ट वीक में आई विल मेक द पीपीटी फॉर माय वर्कशॉप एंड देन आई विल रिहर्स। तो स्टेप वाइज आपने गोल्स बाइफरकेट कर लिए अपनी प्रॉब्लम से डायरेक्टली डील करने के लिए। देन emotion focused coping, which aims to reduce negative emotions associated with the problem. Example of this style include positive reframing, acceptance, turning to religion or humor. इमोशन फोकस कोपिंग में हम एक एग्जाम्पल ऐसे ले सकते हैं कि इफ समवन सेड यू आर शाय, तो आपने अपने लिए इस स्टेटमेंट को रीफ्रेम कर लिया एज अ पॉजिटिव वे दैट आई डोंट इंडल्ज इन एक्स्ट्रा गॉसिप्स, आई एम वेरी क्लोज्ड पर्सन एंड आई ओनली टॉक द नेसेसरी पोर्शंस। सो इससे आपका स्ट्रेस कम हो गया इस स्टेटमेंट से, जो आपको बुरा फील हो रहा था, that situation become more cope worthy for you. Now, meaning focused, in which an individual uses cognitive strategies to derive and manage the meaning of situation. Meaning focus में इंडिविजुअल उस जो भी सिचुएशन उसकी लाइफ में स्ट्रेस क्रिएट कर रही है उसका मीनिंग समझने का ट्राई करता है, and he tries to cope up with the stress. For example, if someone lose the very important person in their life, for example, if someone's very close person passes away, so they realize and accept the reality and they try to move forward in their life. Social coping, social seeking, support seeking. In this, individual reduces stress by seeking emotional or instrumental support from their community. सोशल कोपिंग में हम अपने फ्रेंड्स से हेल्प सीख कर सकते हैं, अपनी फैमिली से हेल्प सीख कर सकते हैं। सोशल कोपिंग बेसिकली ज्यादातर रिसर्चेस में ऐसा देखा गया है कि विमेन बहुत यूज करती हैं सोशल कोपिंग का। दे फाइंड पेयर ग्रुप्स व्हेनेवर दे आर स्ट्रेस्ड to just converse their feelings out, and this reduces their stress level. Now, talking about the measures to calculate our stress levels and know our coping mechanisms. Perceived stress scale is used to calculate our stress levels. Perceived stress scale को हम ऐसे define कर सकते हैं कि same situation में दो अलग अलग individual दो अलग अलग इंटेंसिटी में स्ट्रेस को फील कर सकते हैं। इसको एक एग्जांपल से देखें। इफ individual A is having a pet dog and individual B is also having a pet dog, in case both of them lost their pet in an accident, but the individual A was more attached to their pet, while individual B was not that much attached to their pet, तो इंडिविजुअल ए को ज्यादा इंटेंसिटी में स्ट्रेस फील होगा इस इंसिडेंट के बाद। सो जो परसीव्ड स्ट्रेस स्केल है वो इन दो सिचुएशन में अलग अलग लेवल मेजर कर पाएगा दोनों इंडिविजुअल के स्ट्रेस के। नाउ कमिंग टू कोपिंग मेजर्स, कि डिफरेंट स्टाइल्स ऑफ कोपिंग को मेजर करता है हमारा कोपिंग मेजर, जिसमें मोस्ट कॉमनली यूज्ड है कोप, coping orientation to problems experienced, ways of coping questionnaire, coping strategy questionnaire, coping inventory for stressful situations. Now coming to the most interesting part of our session, techniques to cope up with our stress. So first of all, starting with the relaxation technique, the grounding technique. ग्राउंडिंग टेक्निक में हम बेसिकली अपने 5 सेंसेस को यूज करते हैं अपने आप को काम डाउन करने के लिए। We use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Working backwards from 5, use senses to list things you notice around. हम अपने 5 सेंसेस का यूज करेंगे। हम ट्राई करेंगे कि हम सबसे पहले 5 ऐसी चीजें सुने जो हमारे रूम में इस वक्त प्रेजेंट हैं। For example, you are listening to me, this could be 1, or your fans on the ceiling, this could be 2, or a tap in your washroom could be 3. ऐसे करके हम 5 ऐसी चीजों पे कॉन्शियसली फोकस करेंगे जो हम सुन पा रहे हैं. Then we will come to the four things we can see around you. ऐसी 4 चीजों पे हम ऐसी 4 ऑब्जेक्ट्स को हम कॉन्शियसली ऑब्जर्व करेंगे जो हमारी सराउंडिंग में इस वक्त प्रेजेंट हैं. Then we'll feel 3 things or touch them, whatever is around you, a table, a pen, or anything. 2 things you can smell right now, and 1 thing you can taste. हम जब 5 4 3 2 1 मेथड को फॉलो करते हैं, सो दिस मेथड जस्ट डिस्ट्रैक्ट्स अस फ्रॉम आवर स्ट्रेसफुल सिचुएशन. कई बार ये डिस्ट्रैक्शन हमें एक लूप ऑफ थॉट से बाहर लाने में बहुत हेल्पफुल होता है और हम एक नए अप्रोच से सेम सिचुएशन को देख पाते हैं. देन द मोस्ट अंडररेटेड वन, डीप ब्रीदिंग. डीप ब्रीदिंग हम लोगों ने बहुत ज्यादा सुना हुआ है, लेकिन हम इस पे इतना फोकस नहीं करते हैं. डीप ब्रीदिंग से हमारी बॉडी में ऑक्सीजन इनटेक बढ़ता है, जिससे कि हमारा स्ट्रेस रिलीज होता है, हम रिलैक्स्ड फील करते हैं. देन प्रैक्टिसिंग माइंडफुलनेस. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, लेट मी इंट्रोड्यूस यू टू द टर्म माइंडफुलनेस. माइंडफुलनेस is when we live in the moment and consciously do whatever activity we are doing right now. So I would like to ask you a question कि कब लास्ट टाइम आपने एक बार में एक चीज करी थी. हम ऐसे वर्ड में रह रहे हैं कि हम एक टाइम पे ज्यादातर 2 चीजें या 2 से ज्यादा चीजें कर रहे होते हैं. If we are doing an assignment, we are also listening to our songs, or if we are going for a walk, we are again listening to a podcast. And we are multitasking all the time. Even ऐसे टास्क में जिसमें हमें कॉन्शियसली सोचना नहीं भी है, उसमें भी हम अपने थॉट्स में इतना इन्वॉल्व होते हैं. सिर्फ इस एक माइंडफुलनेस के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक को फॉलो करके हम अपनी लाइफ से बहुत सारे स्ट्रेस को हटा सकते हैं. क्योंकि ऐसे खाली टाइम पे हम बहुत सारे ऐसे थॉट्स को रेपिटेटिवली सोचते हैं जो हमें डिस्ट्रेस देते हैं. So being in the moment and actually, for example, if you eat your food and you consciously take a bite and you realize all the flavors, तो इस point of time में आपका mind कितना relaxed है जब आप कुछ भी extra नहीं सोच रहे हैं, सिर्फ वही सोच रहे हैं जो आप कर रहे हैं. Performing asanas and exercising. It is a well-known fact that when we exercise, dopamine releases in our body and it is a feel-good hormone. So whenever we exercise, we feel good. So it is also good for releasing our stress. Reverse counting. Reverse counting is very widely used for aggression control. स्ट्रेस की वजह से हमारा मूड भी अग्रेसिव होता है, जिसे कंट्रोल करने के लिए हम रिवर्स काउंटिंग यूज कर सकते हैं. Whenever we feel to let out something, so we can just start counting in our mind from 10 to 1. And these counting should be slow, like 10, 9, 8, and so on. And then we should react to the situation. This moment to just think what we are doing can change a lot of our actions. Then seeking a friend for help. We can always and we should try to seek our friend for help. We just keep things in ourselves and in our mind, and this becomes really stressful. कई बार सिर्फ बोल देने से हमारी बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स रिलीज हो सकती हैं, हमारे बहुत सारे कॉट अप इमोशंस वेंट आउट हो सकते हैं, जिससे हमारा स्ट्रेस रिलीज होता है. एंड द 7th one, we should always seek for professional help whenever needed. You should never ever hesitate to take professional help. As I said, take professional help. पर प्रोफेशनल हेल्प लेने में भी तो एक टैबू आ जाता है. हम इतने डेवलप्ड होने के बाद, अर्बन सिटीज में रहने के बाद भी आज के टाइम पे भी मेंटल हेल्थ को एज अ टैबू देखा जाता है. If someone is going to a psychologist, they are tagged or given certain words. So this should not be the case. अगर हम डाटा की बात करें, as per the report of World Health Organization, mental health workers in India per 1 lakh population include psychiatrists 0.3 and nurses 0.12%, psychologists 0.7%, and social workers only 0.7%. As per WHO Global Health Report of 2019, out of every 4 person, one person will have some mental problem at given point of time in their lives. Mental illness is among the leading cause of disability and ill health in the world. There was a shortage of qualified mental health professionals, while 10.6% of adults and 7.3% of adolescents faced mental illnesses, according to Nimhan's survey in 2015 and 16. As the data is clearly evident कि हमारे इंडिया में कितना गैप है मेंटल हेल्थ सर्विसेज प्रोवाइडर्स और हमारे मेंटल हेल्थ डिसऑर्डर्स और द मेंटल हेल्थ सर्विसेज सीकर्स का. So we definitely need more workforce in this field, and effective and qualitative quality workforce to deal with such critical situations. Suicide rates are going up, and somewhere stress is also related to the suicide. Now talking about rural versus urban. Urban cities की बात करें तो urban cities are also divided into two groups. One is the well-developed part, and the other one is the underdeveloped or the slum areas. Every different area has different stressful situations to deal with. अगर हम well-developed urban areas की बात करें तो first of all maintaining the lifestyle they are having right now is very stressful. Then the social media life. जो वेल डेवलप्ड एरियाज अर्बन एरियाज हैं वहां पर जो भी सोशल मीडिया पे कंपटीशन होता है कि द फैमिली नेक्स्ट टू अस और द नेबर्स दे वेंट फॉर वेकेशंस टू यूएसए, नाउ वी हैव टू डू बेटर एंड मूव टू बेटर प्लेस. Along with that, highly developed cities are having high competition and highly ambitious people. This also creates stress in people's life. And workplace stress is so common in these metropolitan cities that it can't be ignored at any cost. उसके बाद urban, underdeveloped urban areas or the slum areas. These areas have major stressor, that is poverty, poor sanitation. If these people don't have money to afford food, how can they even afford the cost of therapy? Child labor and their mental health. Child labor, red light areas, spread of AIDS, and prominent difficulties in these areas are never even addressed. Now, talking about the rural stress. Rural areas may, first of all, it is the income difficulties. People are living in villages, but there are no jobs in many villages. Specifically talking about Uttarakhand itself. Uttarakhand में major focus किया जाता है tourism पे. But the dichotomy of the situation is कि लोग एक तरफ अपनी इनकम के लिए टूरिज्म पे जितना डिपेंडेंट है उतना ही वो अपने घरों को बचाने के लिए उस टूरिज्म से हार्म भी होते हैं. डिजास्टर के केसेस उत्तराखंड में लैंडस्लाइड्स और फ्लड्स, इन सब डिजास्टर के केसेस हम हर साल सुनते हैं. So this is so common that people are having so stressful environment around them. So it is the need of an hour to develop sustainable tourism in Uttarakhand. Recently अभी फोटोज वायरल हो रही थी कि केदारनाथ में फर्स्ट डे पे जब किवाड़ खुलने वाले थे तो इतना क्राउड आया था which was uncontrollable, and for a mountain it is too much pressure to deal with. So tourism के साथ साथ हमें और भी income sources generate कराने होंगे ऐसे areas में so that people come out of this income stress. Now talking about the government initiative. ऐसा नहीं है कि इन स्ट्रेसर्स को और मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज को डील करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट कुछ नहीं कर रही है. Here are few initiatives that government has taken. One of them is Kiran, Mental Health Rehabilitation Helpline. Ministry of Social Justice Empowerment has launched 24/7 toll-free helpline Kiran to provide social support to people facing anxiety, stress, depression, suicidal thoughts, and other mental health concerns. Another is Manas, Mental Health and Normalcy Augment System. This is also another free telehealth service provided, but the major focus in this one is that it serves underserved areas or the remote areas, which is very good point. Then for students, another initiative, Manodarpan, was launched to take care of their psychosocial support system, and counseling for students and their mental well-being. So at last, I would like to say that willpower will always uh, bring you out of your stress. Many people who deal with chronic illnesses deal with it bravely with their willpower. Along with that, our thoughts also become stressor for us. We as students face many times that our thoughts are the most commonly faced stressor in our life. तो बात करते हैं कि क्यों ऐसा होता है कि हमारे ही थॉट से हमें ही स्ट्रेस हो रहा है. क्योंकि हम थॉट्स को एज अ फ्लो ऑफ आइडिया नहीं देखते हैं. कई बार हम एक थॉट जो हमारे माइंड में रेंडमली फ्लो थ्रू करता है उसे स्ट्रक कर लेते हैं, उसे पकड़ कर बैठ जाते हैं, फिर वहां से कैटास्ट्रॉफिक थिंकिंग स्टार्ट हो जाती है. वी स्टार्ट थिंकिंग मोर नेगेटिव थॉट्स अराउंड दैट वन नेगेटिव थॉट. So at the end, I would just like to say that we all are different and these differences create beauty within us. So why should we compare each one of us with each other? We should start polishing ourselves and make ourselves even better and reach our full potentials. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Kalpana. It was seriously a very informative talk. And so we also have some questions from our inquisitive listeners, and there are many questions actually. So the first question is, what are some evidence-based techniques for reducing stress levels?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, okay. The question is, what are some evidence-based, strategies to cope up with stress?
What are some?
Evidence-based strategies.
Okay, evidence-based strategies. So, as I discussed, that yoga is definitely helpful in releasing our stress. Along with that, studies have shown that exercising releases dopamine, and dopamine is very widely known for its mood enhancing factor. So it creates a very positive mood, so it reduces our stress levels. Along with that, journaling. This is what I have tried for myself. Whenever we feel overwhelmed with our thought processes or any negative situation, we should start writing about things. For example, if something negative happens in our life, we just start thinking about all the negative events happening with us even in past. So just open a notebook and start writing about the things you were ever grateful about. And when you list down things, you will feel an instant change in your mood and thought process. And this creates a very big difference.
Okay. The next question is, what are the differences between stress and anxiety, if there are any?
Oh. So, stress and anxiety, we just replace these terms very often. But anxiety is actually when we worry about something which is upcoming in future. Anxiety is always term used for something which is not yet happened, but it is creating stress for us. But we are thinking that this might happen, but it may or may not happen. But stress that we are facing is really happening to us.
Okay. The next question is from Akriti ma'am, and she's asking that, because we are living in global age, but still there are many differences in the society on the basis of many categories or hierarchies. So how will this anatomy and sensitivity can reach out to people?
How will this?
How will this reach out to people, this anatomy and the sensitivity, the classification of various categories and hierarchies?
Okay. So we humans always want to preach everything to each other. So let us start with educating and empowering ourselves and being sensitive to people around us. So I would like to say that first we should be able to understand people around us. Then we can't expect everyone to change at one go. But when we change ourselves, then slowly the change will spread apart as well.
Okay. we would be having the question is, how does stress influence the immune system and susceptibility to illness?
Okay. So, as I just discussed, that whenever we are stressed, our sympathetic mode gets activated, in which our body changes and our recovery becomes slow. This recovery becomes slow, then our injuries take time to recover. So, these injuries may get more prone to infections, and our immune system, along with this, gets weakened during stress.
Okay, and we would be taking last question. That the rat race to acquire more and more material possessions seem to be a major cause of stress. So please suggest a simple stress buster technique in such situations.
Okay. So, first of all, we all want a luxurious life, and no one can deny that money is not important. It is important. In this material world, we want essential, a good lifestyle. We should be able to afford food, a shelter, and a good life to live. But this is for us to decide that how much money should be enough to fulfill our need. The need and the greed proportion should be very clear in our mind. If we are not clear that how much money is enough for me, then we'll always be running about for more and more, and we'll always be stressful, and we'll never be satisfied. The unsatisfied person is always the most stressed and unhappy person.
Okay, Kalpana. And one question is from our team, that please share your experience with us and with the platform.
It was a really good experience. I got to learn so many new things. From the day when I presented in the demo session, I got so many suggestions. So I tried to inculcate each and every suggestion in my PPT and my talk. So I learned very new things as a speaker. I was always seeking some good people to listen to me and help me improve my speaking skills. Although I'm not perfect, I know, but I always seek to get perfect and reach at my better and best level. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kalpana, and please stay tuned with us. Uh, Now, I would like to invite our guest of honor for his valuable insights about the topic and about the platform. So you're muted. Please unmute your mic.
Yeah, definitely, Manvi. Thank you. And it was really heartening to listen to such a topic and in such a comprehensive manner, from cause to effect and its coping mechanism also. In fact, you started very well. I will like to say that most of the people should try to keep their stress in eustress and acute stress levels only. And that only will help out. See, these things are not new. Means most of the things you put it in a very systematic manner, but coping mechanism you elaborated it in a very great detail. Problem focused, emotion focused, then meaning focused, social thing. See, social society people are nowadays forgetting about those things. है ना? Unnecessary बिना किसी बात के भी कभी किसी से मिलना, हंसना, बोलना, these are the things that really decide your happiness levels. And stress goes away. Sometimes you don't have to deliberately do the things, you have to do it just because you are doing it. So people should understand. अभी मैं recently एक महर्षि पतंजलि का भी कुछ पढ़ रहा था, तो उसमें he has very accurately talked about that you mentioned, like practicing things, there are deep breathing and practicing things. So he talked about this in kendrast ho jana. It means simply that you have to go inside, you have to plan, you have to do the things in a way that calms you. You don't take, see, stresses are inevitable. How we define it in engineering is stress is something which is applied from outside. So it comes from outside. And now you cannot means simply stop it. You don't have, many a times you don't have control over the environment. So you have to manage it. The best thing that you have to do is to manage it. And the managing techniques are well explained by Miss Kalpana. And I hope this talk will definitely benefit all the listeners, and they can definitely spread the words to their peers, to their colleagues, to their friends, to their families. And I will like to thank Manisha Karmar sir for such a nice series and such a nice talk, that initiative he has taken. And I will wish that such type of things keep on going. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dhyani. And thank you to all listeners. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And what are your views about our platform? And please give us your wishes also.
Message?
For the
Sir,
they want something about the platform. That means about the GSTS.
definitely, I've told no. GSTS is like, it's such a platform that see, interacting, communicating with each other is like, see what we do by writing a paper. It got published in a journal. By communicating, by talking to each other, and on such a fruitful topics, such fruitful topics. I was also seeing all the talks, and that has already happened. It really, see, satsang ka asar jo hota hai na, wo dikhta hai. So this is just a beautiful series that is going on, and I wish many more to come. And to Kalpana Dhyani also for such a wonderful talk on this. है ना? So overall, sir, please take it forward, and I will be also like to part of it and joining sometime. So keep on joining from time to time. Thank you so much. Over to Manvi, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we would be moving forward, and for the next week we have our speaker, Miss Muskan, and she's speaking on digiplomacy, the art of diplomacy. But she couldn't be here due to some reasons, so we would be playing her introduction video. I request Manish sir to please play it.
Hello everyone, my name is Muskan Khanna. I'm a PhD research scholar at the Department of African Studies, University of Delhi. I have completed my BA in Political Science from Lady Shyam Lal College for Women, Delhi University, and I've last year completed my Masters in Political Science from Hindu College, University of Delhi. My doctoral research centers around digitalization of public diplomacy with a specific focus on Africa. And I feel it is a field that is rapidly evolving and is reshaping how nations interact on the global stage. In the session next week, I will be discussing on the topic of diplomacy, that is the digitalization of diplomacy. This session will delve into how digital tools and platforms are changing traditional diplomacy and what this means for the future of international relations. The objective of my talk will be to examine how digital technologies have altered the landscape of diplomacy and how it is enabling a much more direct engagement between states and foreign publics. We will be talking about the use of social media, online campaigns. By looking at real world examples from various countries, we will be looking at the success stories of different countries, and that way we can implement it in the countries that have not yet embraced digital diplomacy to that extent. However, we will also be seeing the different challenges that are surrounding digital diplomacy, like misinformation, cyber threats. But we'll also look at the opportunities for much more enhanced engagement, much more transparent international relations. And understanding all these aspects is very crucial for developing a robust digital diplomacy framework. So the session will focus on how different emerging technologies like big data, AI are also being leveraged to gather insights and shape diplomatic efforts. Overall, I believe this is a topic that is incredibly pertinent as the world is becoming increasingly interconnected. And the evolution of diplomacy in the digital age is not just a matter of adopting social media tools, but it is also about rethinking how diplomatic objectives can be achieved in this rapidly changing global scenario. I look forward to discuss all these exciting developments with you in exploring how digital diplomacy can be harnessed to build stronger, much more resilient international landscape.